Hi, welcome to the special city council meeting of the city of San Juan Bautista, Wednesday, June 4th at 5:30. Calling the meeting to order now. Pledge of Allegiance, Councilmember Friels, will you please start us off? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Here.
Councilmember Frios,
Here.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Here.
and Mayor Jordan.
Here. Those are my favorite. Public comments are limited to items on the special meeting agenda pursuant to California Government Code Section 54954.3B. If you wish to make a public comment on an item on this agenda, please wait for the item to be called. The first item is closed session. Public Employee Employment Government Code 54957B1, City Manager. That's okay. I'm looking at it going, wait, what? Wait, what? Sorry, folks. We're going with Plan B now. Conference, thought we already discussed that. Are we making changes? Conference with legal counsel on existing litigation, Orozco versus the City of San Juan Bautista et al., California Government Code Section 54956.9D1. City Attorney John Giffen. Hi, welcome.
Good evening.
Oh, sorry. Hi, sorry. Welcome. Do we have any public comment on this?
No hands raised on Zoom and no seeing speaker cards in chambers, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. We are now going into closed session. We will see everyone in Zoom land, Facebook, social media, wherever in 30 minutes. Hang on.
Very well.
Sorry, hang on one second. You have to start all over again. Because we were all muted and you need to call back in. Are we calling him or are you calling? We're going to call you back. Hi, all. Welcome back. Welcome to the special meeting of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista. It is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025 at 6:03 p.m. Attorney Giffen, will you please take us out of closed session?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Members of the City Council and public, the City Council met in closed session pursuant to item 2A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Orozco versus City of San Juan Bautista, California Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Council members heard from the city attorney, and there is no reportable action.
Thank you very much. With the indulgence of the council, I would like to not do what I just did. I would like to move the public hearing ordinance designating fire hazard severity zones, FHSZ, in the City of San Juan Bautista city limits. I would like to move that to in front of the consent agenda, if everybody agrees. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we are moving the public hearing up first. Welcome, Chief Golding. I lost my pen. Got my pen. I did? Which ones? Oh,
All right. Good to go.
yeah, oh, it's all you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Jordan and City Council.
That's you.
Before you tonight, as you stated, is a brief presentation on the updated fire hazard severity zone maps. And Jonathan Goulding, your fire chief. We'll go to the next one. All right, so what are fire hazard severity zones? So CAL FIRE utilizes an advanced modeling to determine the fire risk in areas throughout the state of California. These maps were last updated between 2008 and 2011 for the local response areas. And at that time, they only designated the very high areas. In 2022, AB 642 and SB 63 passed requiring CAL FIRE to update these maps again for the local response areas and include two additional designations. Those are moderate and high designations. And then Government Code 51-179 requires local government agencies to take mitigating actions. So what do we need to do? Once we receive the maps, the first thing we did is we posted them on the city's webpage as well as the City of Hollister's fire webpage and made them available, which we were required to do within 30 days of receiving those maps. Then tonight we're having our public hearing on adopting the ordinance. And then once we adopt the maps in I believe at your next council meeting, you adopt the maps, and then I will transmit them to the state with the approved ordinance, and that'll complete the requirement for what you have to do for this ordinance. So can we dispute or amend the fire hazard severity zone mapping? You cannot dispute the determinations, i.e. you cannot take a map or take a designation on the map and lower a designation. However, you could increase designations if you so chose to. It's my recommendation that you do not change those. And the reason for that is CAL FIRE has an extensive modeling that they come up with to make these determinations, and any change to that, we don't have the staff to come up with a determination as to why we would increase those designations. So they use a lot of scientific method to get to these designations. So I don't recommend, unless we're going to invest a large amount of staff time and money to do it, to change these maps. So ultimately, what does it mean? So there's different requirements for different properties within the three classifications, and depending on whether they're in the state response area or the local response area. So state response area has higher requirements for the same designations than it requires in the local response area. So if you want to go to the next slide. So if you look at the chart on the right-hand side, you'll see the local response area requirements. The left-hand side is what those same requirements would be in the state response area. So the moderate designation only requires that you adopt the maps, which is what we're doing tonight, or what we're working on tonight. And then for the properties within the high or very high areas, if people are actually building in those areas, there are planning and building implications for building in those types of areas. You want to go to the next one for me? So this is actually your map. And so the areas that apply are only the ones within the boundary, and they're in the brightly colored areas. So the light gray, that means it has no designation. The bright yellow falls within the moderate designation, meaning you have to adopt the fire hazard severity zone, and that is the only requirement. And then the area within the orange, that meets the high designation, that starts having some planning and building implications if you are building in those areas. The pale orange and the pale yellow, those are within the state response area, and then that darker gray, those are state response areas. So it's only the area that you see that are the brightly colored items. And with that, I will take any questions you may have on your fire hazard severity zones.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Aranda.
Yeah, question on the darker side of on that map.
I'm sorry, hang on one second. Can you please put the map back up? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, on that darker side on that map, how does that affect residents like with fire insurance and anything like that? Like once we designate this and we make it a ordinance or whatever it is, will we start seeing people's fire insurance dropping them because of that or how does that work?
So the official answer is these maps should not have an effect on fire insurance. We know the reality is fire insurance, they're going to do what they do, however they want to do it. So that the insurance companies set their own rules on whether or not they insure you or not. And at the County Board of Supervisors, this was a pretty lengthy discussion.
Mhm.
Ultimately, these maps are out there, whether you, and at the supervisor level, they were talking about people that were already losing their insurance based upon these maps.
Got it.
But that they weren't even adopted yet at the time. So insurance companies, they're this day and age, they're flying drones over homes and canceling insurance for moss on the roof.
Got it.
I personally had my insurance canceled because I had a chocolate lab. So there's all sorts of reasons for them to make the determinations. Ultimately, the maps, you're required by government code to adopt the maps. They stated, the insurance commissioner had stated, along with CAL FIRE, the state fire marshal's office, stated that these maps are a different set of maps than what the insurance companies use. But to your point, the insurance companies are using whatever methods they want to make whatever determinations they want to decide whether they cancel your insurance or not. So I would say it's highly likely that they'll use these maps, but I think they'll use these maps whether you approve them or not.
Got it. And my another question, how does this affect residents now? Like, does anything else change?
No, most of this has to do with if you're going to continue to build.
Got it.
That's the main focus on this. The on a go forward basis, what these maps are intended to do. If you remember the Oakland Hills fire.
Mhm.
Okay, so what happened is CAL FIRE for years had been designating hazard severity zones, but only in the state response area. So when Oakland Hills burned, they had no idea, truly had no idea that it was a high fire hazard severity zone. So these maps are intended to make people aware. It's an awareness tool so that if you live there, you should be paying more attention to some of those safer from wildfire type programs.
Got it. And I think that's it. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
Just to, and I know the chief has nothing to do with these maps, but they're terrible. But what happens if we don't approve this? What if we say we don't disagree, we disagree and we're not going to approve this?
I would have to defer you to your legal counsel as to what that is.
Okay. Just for all of us, just be prepared because as the chief said, regardless what insurance companies say, I mean, we're looking at all Lang Street, all along 156 is in the high fires of severity. So it's, your neighbor's going to be losing insurance. Mine just did because of moss on the roof. So yeah, so it's coming, unfortunately. So thank you for the presentation, chief.
Real quick to your point. So you understand in that scientific modeling that CAL FIRE does, and like I said, we cannot reduce the designation. But they basically took a period of time, I believe it was the past 20 years, is either 20 or 30 years, but they basically looked at it at worst case scenario, and that's how they applied this. So areas that don't make sense to some people in their mind to say, like, this is not in a high fire hazard severity zone. They look at the worst wind conditions, worst fuel conditions, worst temperature conditions, worst humidity conditions, and that's how they make the determinations.
Okay.
And I get it, and I know what they're using, but 5th Street and 4th Street are identical streets.
Mhm.
One's in, one's out.
Mhm.
You get the same amount of wind, sun, exposure, trees. So yeah, thank you, state of California. again.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I think it's great that we're getting awareness out there and people can be proactive. I'm looking at the map and like makes a little bit more sense now when I think about the high being the orange, being next to the freeway. And then slightly below that moderate when we say 6th Street, that's not anywhere near vegetation, but it's near the high fire range, I guess is what they're reasoning for that. And then the 3rd Street section that has moderate, I think that's over by the school or the creek bed or where there's more vegetation. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
I'm going to take your advice, and without having the data and the inputs that went into these maps, I don't really have any questions. It'd be interesting to see the data and how it was modeled, but
Is there a zoom in? Like my house might not be, but my neighbor is.
So what we did with the county, and I'd have to look on whether or not I don't know if their overlay included it, but what we did is I worked with their GIS person and I gave them the shape files and the layers, and they were able to put it on a county map. I know once they're adopted, you'll be able to do that. But since it's not adopted yet, I don't know if we could do that. I mean, I could work with somebody to try and get that done for you guys. But I know we did it with the county, and where the county you can go and put in and you'll actually see with your address. Are you in a gray area? Are you in a yellow area? Are you in an orange area?
Perfect. That would be perfect. We pay into the GIS, don't we? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so what I can do is I can reach out again. I actually went through County OES, Chris Mangano. And she put me in touch with the GIS person, and I have all the files
Okay.
and sent it over so I can make that request for San Juan Bautista. as
Sure,
well.
that would be awesome. Thank you. Public comment. I'd like to now open it to public comment. Do we have any?
No speaker cards received for this item, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Mike Ponce, 803 First Street. Just a quick question. So in these
Thank you.
zones,
Welcome.
if there's a fire in these zones, is there any kind of auto aid, and what kind of response or special response will we get in a fire in these zones? Thank you.
Thank you.
So really quickly, I mean, we cover San Juan Bautista as of right now. There's nothing changed in our contract, so same response regardless. Some of the areas we theoretically use this as a guide. Some areas that we have different circumstances, like if we have an area that has less water, we'll ask for water standards, or vegetation will ask. So let me try that again. I thought the light was on, but yeah, so we would operate just based upon what the needs are. These maps give us a guideline, but our personnel, especially the ones that work in this area, they know the areas that have a higher concern. To your points, like some of these that are designated as a higher designation, that are maybe not a concern at the time, we wouldn't call for more. But even an area that's a light gray area, if there's a concern or a need, we would call for the appropriate resources and utilize our auto aid and mutual aid partners for those responses.
Great. Thank you very much. Do we have no other public comment? Thank you. Back to the council. Any more questions? Councilmember Aranda?
No questions. Again, thank you for this presentation.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels? Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez?
Thank you for the report.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
thank you. No questions.
I don't either. Thank you very much. Be safe.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Thanks, you as well. Thank you. Thanks for agreeing to that all. The consent agenda, all matters listed under the San Juan Bautista City Council consent agenda may be enacted by one motion unless a member of the city council or the public requests discussion or a separate vote. I will be pulling G, approve a resolution authorizing the closure of streets for the 2025 Rotary Rainbow Run. Are there any other sections that will be pulled? Councilmember Aranda?
None for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
I was gonna also pull G. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez? Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
Everything I wanted to talk about, sorry, pulled.
Thank you very much.
I have the speaker cards here. Yes, we have two items, 3D and 3G.
3D, and who's pulling D?
Ms. Caravanc
Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
and Jesse Solis, 3G.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion for A, B, C, H?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Aranda,
Second.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. 3D, Caravanc. Can you please check to see if your button is on?
There we
Thank you.
go. Thank you.
Hey.
On the senior planner matter, there's a document there for soliciting senior planners, and it lists the various qualifications and what we're looking for. And I would like to suggest that we also look for somebody who's knowledgeable in the Secretary of Interior standards for historic preservation. Because we do have a historic district, we have many other properties on our register. And whoever's applying should be aware of the fact that the state of California does require a review pursuant to the standards. And that's according to state law. So they should be familiar with it, or at least they could read it before they come in for an interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a recommendation to add to. Okay. Okay. May I have a motion? Oh, do we have any? Sorry, we should go to we should go to council comment on that. Thank you. Councilmember Aranda.
Other than I definitely agree.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
This is on D?
This is on
D, yeah.
D, yes.
Yeah, I thought that's what RenCon does for us is they're the historic architects, right? So I'm sure that they already have all that qualification as far as that kind of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I think I'm taking to heart and a good point. This Ms. Caravant points out, even though Rincon, they're on contractual basis. So if we can avoid, calling them up and incurring a charge, we have an in-house person. And then if need be, consultation with them, we could at the first go, with that required skill set, save some money.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
I have concerns over the Venn diagram of skills in terms of having all that we need as a planner and also having the breadth of knowledge in this proposed new requirement, that we'd be limiting our applicant pool severely by doing that.
So you want it expanded or not limited to?
Adding this new requirement, in my mind, would limit the patient pools.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yes, yes, yes.
Limit
yes,
the
yes.
applicant pool too much, in my mind.
So there's, thank you for that. There's language that we can say, like, we're not requiring it, but it would be super nice to have. Is that how that works? City manager? You know, like education,
Yes.
it's not, it's preferred. If
Or
we,
desired. Like,
Yeah.
we can finesse the language. I agree that I don't think it should be a requirement. I think we'll limit our pool of candidates by doing that. But I think finding someone who's willing to learn is absolutely a plus.
Okay,
Okay to speak?
sure.
Just for the verbiage, maybe strongly desired, strongly recommended. And with that, with that being thrown into the, the pool where you're still not closing off the applicant pool, that's implied when you have that skill set, that also means that you might be able to come in at a higher rate if you are strongly desired to have that skill. And like I said, we would cut out having to call up Rincon.
Thank you. Councilmember
Yeah,
Friel?
just to clear, I was hoping to clarify, I was under the impression that Rincon was not on an hour-to-hour basis. So it would,
As they're on an as needed?
yeah, so it wouldn't cost us any more, would it? Than what we have like a contract.
So
with them.
we have an annual contract with them.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
I hear what you're saying, and you're just sitting here having a live debate over a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I love doing that. I do it all the time at work. When reviewing, I write a lot of job descriptions. The strongly worded, strongly suggested, it really does, even though it's not requirement, like it limits your applicant pool. And then having things that are kind of in that middle ground of like, you have your requirements, right? That's your P0, your high level. And then beyond that, having some things that are nice to haves. They're good, but having too many of them or having, different stratifications of like, in my mind, it just becomes confusing and all leads towards limiting your applicant pool. And we want us to have as many options to interview from as possible. And I mean, it doesn't mean that in the interview process, we don't add questions around those types of things, that we can feel people out around those types of things, gauge their interest, gauge what they do know. But putting it on the actual job description, in my mind, would be limiting.
Thank you. How about we let the city manager figure out the language on that? Sorry. Okay, can I have a motion? Hang on, let me get the language. A motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the creation of a senior planner position in the Community Development Department, and adding language at the city manager's discretion about Secretary of Standard.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yeah.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Item E, Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Okay. So pulling that, I just wanted clarification. I understand the reasoning behind it. And for clarification of the lateral, it sounds to me like we did have this position before. It was formerly Brian Fouch was our assistant city manager, and I understand that this role will be a little different. But just for clarification for myself and anyone in the public that might want to have the same clarification. So would they be less involved with economic development as Mr. Fouch was and more administrative and sort of not mid-management, but kind of higher management to what exactly? And then also it said it's a lateral move, so there wouldn't be any fiscal impact. So can you speak to someone already maybe being in a position that you would be moving laterally, or are you allowed to do that now? Sorry, a lot of questions.
I'd have to ask my administrative services director if I'm allowed to say that publicly. But I can talk generally about, the idea. So the assistant to the city manager position, lateral move, it is not an assistant city manager position, which was previously held by Brian Fouch. This is a little bit a step down from a full-on assistant city manager role, but it is still a department head level, somewhere in between. And the role is meant to be sort of added an extra managerial level and a level of oversight between the city manager and everyone else. Right now, we have a very flat model, and we talked about this at the last meeting, where the city manager, everyone answers to the CM at this moment. So by moving a position and making it an assistant to the city manager position, that would add that extra level of oversight. And we currently have 2 positions right now that are department head level within the city. That is our public safety coordinator position, and that is our administrative services director position. So essentially, it is a title change for our public safety coordinator to become an assistant to the city manager, and make a lateral transition, but also take on more duties as a department head, because that's technically the role that they are currently playing right now. We're formalizing those roles. Did I answer everything, or?
Yes, and it sounds to me like it's actually giving you more bandwidth to supervise the departments and department heads, a little bit more bandwidth, a lot more bandwidth, and more efficiency.
Yeah, I'm trying to create more capacity for the city manager to focus on what you want me to focus on, which is organizational development and all of the major development projects that we have in the queue, and allowing our staff to handle staff level challenges, personnel issues, things that they can handle on their own without me having to jump in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Thank you. May I have a motion to approve, sorry, a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the creation of the position Assistant to the City Manager and adopting the associated job description?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Aranda, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item F,
Yes. that would be-
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes. Once again, it's just for clarification. For myself and also importantly for the public that may be listening, because this is involving, I believe, not only creation of a new position, I think addition to an existing position, but also a little increase, a bump up in salary, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Okay. And then the question that I had regarding this position was, is this going to be a lateral or not a lateral? Would it be kind of like an addition to an existing position? Or is the city going to do also recruitment, is my first question.
Okay, I'm gonna take this in 2 parts.
Okay.
So for the first part, essentially, what we're trying to accomplish here, so the overall goal And we'll get into it more when we talk about the budget.
Okay.
But what we're trying to do is back away from our contract reliance.
Mhm.
Where we rely very, very heavily on contract support. And we spend a lot of money in community development. So one of the things that we've been actively talking about and trying to find ways to curb that cost is, and one of the ideas is to combine minor building inspection with our code enforcement activities. And increase the pay on that position a little bit, but we will be saving in the long run by doing that. So that's the first part. And we talked a little bit about that at the last meeting. Secondary to that, I don't have all the details about the process yet for how that's going to come about. But we do have a current code enforcement officer who has a lot of experience and is also a licensed contractor. So we also have within our midst a capacity to make this happen quickly. How it happens, that's a discussion with HR, and we will further develop that and report back.
Okay. And then I had a question when I read the details about who this individual or this position answers to. At one time, I thought I read that it was the senior planner. And then I thought it was also then, there was two different titles, and I did not write down the notes so I can look at it. But there was a confusion as to,
That's correct. It's not a direct report because
Okay.
they're doing two different things.
okay,
So under code enforcement, they would answer to the public safety officer.
Mhm.
And under building, they would answer to the senior planner, and they would work with the building official to solve those issues. So that person would have to be,
mhm.
dynamic and nimble to be able to work with a lot of people, a lot of other experts.
Right. And also I noticed that one of the requirements that you had put down was probably additional training or certification if that individual lacked that. And then also a skill set of communication with the public, because this is they're wearing two hats, one hat that might be not as popular in the community, and then they're going to switch over to another hat. So they have to also be a good communicator and kind of be very calm because they've got that other hat, and people might confuse it. Okay, I'm wearing this hat today, but I'm that person before and I don't like that hat. So you know what I'm saying, right?
I do.
Okay, the duality of that, right?
I think the entire city is in a new position to have to teach.
Mhm.
A lot of things are changing, and they're changing really quickly. And so the direction from me to everyone is that we need to all be patient with each other, and that we are teaching and we're learning together.
Yeah, I'm all for this. I think it's a great idea to keep it in-house. And what better way to, once again, curb our costs with Four Leaf. I think they've been doing it. And then the building, I think you said the senior building person, what was it? Was that the title?
Oh, building official.
Official, would that still be with Four Leaf, or would that be someone in-house?
We're going to talk about that during the
Okay,
budget
all
discussion.
right, thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista establishing the position of Building Inspector / Code Enforcement Officer and eliminating the position of Code Enforcement and Community Services Officer?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia and seconded by Councilmember Aranda. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item to be pulled is G, approve a resolution authorizing the closure of streets for the 2025 Rotary Rainbow Run on June 7th, 2025. If I can start off with the city manager.
Awesome. Before we dig in, I just want to make sure there was some changes to the maps, and there's some changes to the resolution. So I asked Roy Morales to just do a brief presentation and put some pictures up on the screen so everybody can see what the changes are before we dig into questions and all that stuff.
I'm not sure we have screen.
Can you put it on Zoom? Where's the breaker?
Yeah, and sorry, do we still have Zoom? We don't have any video in chambers, so apologies to all those in Zoom land and Facebook. You can hear it, but you can't see it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect, thank you. We don't either, we can hear. Thank you. Yes, you can hear, but you cannot see. Go ahead. Sorry,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start with the quick event overview. So we're discussing the 2025 Rotary Run. The organizer is San Juan Bautista Rotary Club. The date for the event will be this Saturday, June 7th, 2025. The event timeline is from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's scheduled to start, the actual race is scheduled to start from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Location will be the public streets and throughout San Juan Bautista. I believe that the slideshow or the slides that you have in front of you do say the cemetery district, but since this was created, the maps have changed. So the map that you have in front of you should be the updated map. So just a quick timeline on the event of the application process. The city first received the application on Saturday, May 17th through the initial special event application process. And then on Monday, the 19th, we received the initial event application again with corrections from the city sent to the applicant. On Thursday, the 22nd, revised application submitted by the applicant. The 29th through the 30th, final documentation, preliminary routine revision submitted. And Friday, May 30th, revised site plan, removing the route from entering the county's jurisdiction was submitted. Revised route included the route going through the cemetery. Again, it's been revised. On June 2nd, which was just this week, revised site plan removing the route from going through the cemetery was removed. Revised map now only includes city streets. And then Wednesday of this week, scheduled for the city council's consideration at special meeting, which we're here tonight. So attached to your program here, you have the most current map, which shows the path from the Alameda and then going through several city streets and then coming back to the Alameda for the finish line. So if you have the map in front of you, it shows it going through 3rd Street, 2nd Street, all the way out to Rancho Vista, a couple neighborhoods in Rancho Vista, and then back. So basically it affects the entrance at the Alameda, which is one of 3 entrances to the city, and then the roundabout as well out on 1st Street. So leaving the only entrance and exit to the city at Monterey by the cemetery. So that's what you have in front of you. Like you have different attachments also assigned to this with different maps, but the one you have in front of you is the final one. And so I'm going to move forward to the fiscal impact. There's no direct fiscal impact to the city. Applicant is responsible for all permitting and city-related expenses, which means our public works, setting up all roadblocks before, which are the stop signs and the different roadblocks that we use for other special events. So they will be setting up and taking them down. So the event organizer will be billed for those services. So that's one. So review, what we need from you tonight is to review and determine whether to approve, deny, or modify the street closure request, and to consider community and traffic impacts, public safety, and event benefits to the city.
Thank you for that. I believe this was pulled by myself, Scott, EJ, and Jesse Solis.
And I have one other member of the public, Michael Ponce.
Okay. Councilmember Friels.
Thank you. I'm glad that got clarified on the map. I saw it running through the cemetery and that got me a little bit worked up. Barricades, Roy, we're Public Works putting up the barricades.
They will be putting them up and they will be taking them down as
Okay.
well.
Who, will we have anybody staffing all the barricades? Every barricade will have somebody there to be able to move.
I'm sorry, hang on, sorry. Jesse, yeah, can you come to the podium, please, and make sure the light's on? Thank you. And sorry,
Okay.
for us tall girls,
I know.
you have to speak. There you go. Thank you.
Sure. Take off my
Sorry.
shoes.
Go ahead.
There will be volunteers at all of the barricades.
Okay. How many barricades are we going to have? Do we have enough, hopefully?
We've asked for a fee total and things like that. We don't have them yet, but we have a significant number of volunteers.
Okay. Yeah, and another question on, so this is Saturday.
Yes, June 7th.
Are you going to be able to notify all the folks? This is a third of the town. Are you going to be able to notify everybody is in the affected area in enough time?
I can certainly try. We've been announcing it and I can post it online. I can share the details that way. This has been adjusting real time for various reasons, so we haven't had a lot of time.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke to staff and this thing, they've been, you know, they took a break from doing the budget work to try to get this event through. It's kind of last minute. Not a lot of people are online. You know, not everybody. My mom's on social media. So just concerned, you're gonna have a lot of upset folks in town because they're gonna feel like they're not gonna be able to leave their house. What if they want to go to a fun run somewhere else and they're not able to leave their driveway? So it's just concerning how fast this is moving with very little public knowledge. Unfortunately, we only have a handful of people on the meeting tonight, but I'm just concerned about enough people to be at the barricades and me getting stopped at the post office in Windmill Market and getting chewed out. So you answered my question. So thank you.
We have done this event 3 years running. It has not, am I close enough now?
Yeah, you're good. Thank you.
We have not had any problems like the ones that you've suggested.
Yeah, but
as
you didn't send it
potential.
all through Rancho Vista and down Third, and it just went out of town, right? And out towards, how come you're not going out through the county?
We could not because the county requires an encroachment permit. It wasn't on the city's list of jurisdictions we needed to communicate with. We communicated with them as of the end of last week, and we had to pivot our race course to avoid the county to continue to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Hello. I have a couple of different questions and or issues. My main issue is hearing, sorry, you're Roy to me. Hearing Roy talk about the timeline that everything is coming through. Was counting days. We're at like 17 or 16 days of notice to the city to coordinate this, when I think we require 30, 60 to 90. Yeah, that's not a lot of time to come through this. And then I hear what you're saying about coordinating with the county and all that. Previously going out with the race course, going out through First Street and not really encroaching into city streets the way it does now, it was an inconvenience for people. This is an impediment for people getting in and out of their homes. I mean, anybody who's even west of 4th Street can't get anywhere down the other way. There's not a way to go through there. There's some areas of town and some homes that are completely walled out and that would be walled out. I know of just looking at the map, 2 to 3 elderly people who would be stuck in their homes for 5 or 6 hours, not being able to easily get in and or out, and they're living alone. So that's concerning. But those two things, how quickly we're trying to get this approved and through the approval process, and we might have had some more time, with 60 or 90 days to adjust maps to people's liking. And then just where it's cutting through town is concerning for me. That's all.
Thank you. I'm next. I'm up. Thank you. I am a huge supporter of this, and I, from day one, have supported Rotary on this run. And thank you very much for starting it. What an amazing thing for Rotary. Huge. Well done getting it started. I was a little surprised that Rotary said yes. But yeah, huge supporter of this. I appreciate you working diligently to bring it back again this year. Super disconcerting was the timeline. We heard about it a week ago, 10 days ago, ish. And we do have a 60 to 90 day, 60 to 90 day review period for situations just like this. And had we had that time, the county probably would have approved it running through them. Lessons learned. So public safety is huge, but so is this race. It's huge to the community. It's huge to the city. It's huge to the LGBT plus community. And super amazing to see everybody who comes out come out. Do you have anything else? Because you pulled it too,
Yes.
so you get to talk on it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you, Mayor Jordan, for your prayer support, city council members for allowing me to come and speak on behalf of the Rotary Rainbow Run. I am a past Rotarian president. I am the founder for this race. I am a co-chair for this race. Events like this don't happen without absolute personal blood, sweat, and tears on every level to make something like this happen. This event makes almost no money. When I was speaking with the county planning director on my way here, he and I were talking about the fees that they would have charged us. It would have absolutely been cost prohibitive to go that route. And unfortunately, that's not an option for our race. The Rotary Mission 10 raises upwards of $60,000 a year. Wow. Our race, on the other hand, raises maybe $2,000 a year, and we split all proceeds with the Esperanza Center because frankly, there are no services in our county for the LGBTQ community. And the purpose of this race and the purpose of this event is to have an inclusive, welcoming event in our community that helps give to those who desperately need it. I have a copy of the application if anybody wants it. I also have a copy of the special emergency action plan that we created as well. That was not a requirement of the application, but we turned it very quickly to jump any hurdle that we were asked to do. I also have copies of the revised map that Roy presented. So I also want to thank city staff. This has not been easy on anybody's front. It hasn't been easy for us, and it certainly hasn't been for the city. And I know I'm appreciative of the efforts that staff made to help us at least come to this moment, right? We are a nonprofit. This is a nonprofit event. I really hope that the council, and I also talked to Supervisor Kosmicki about this event because he also was trying to make sure we could move it forward with the county, et cetera. I suggested to him, and I'm going to suggest before you all as well, that nonprofit events like this that are startup, hopefully there's some accommodation on fees because it does make it very challenging to make it all work. The fact that not all application requirements are known on day one makes the application process almost impossible. I have personally filed over 6 applications in the city. They're almost always late on getting our permitting. It's a very challenging process. So ask you for your consideration and approval.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we take public comment on?
Yes, because they
something that-
pulled it. Ms. Caravanc submitted a speaker card after the fact. So it's
Okay.
up to you whether you want to allow her to speak on it. But,
Sorry,
but I
Kara,
do have
just-
two. I do have.
I
two.
can't remember unless it's pulled by,
You should, if you plan on
Sorry.
speak on it, you need to pull it.
right. And then we can't have it. I'm sorry, Michael, can you please take that phone call outside? Sorry, if to be able to speak on it, you have to pull it.
Correct.
Okay, so there's no public comment.
I have Michael Ponce pulled it and I got
Oh,
a speaker card
Okay,
from
I didn't realize
Caravanc after the
they pulled
fact.
it also. Okay, sorry. I need to make sure that this meeting is run appropriately and correctly under all rules and regulations that we need to follow. So I apologize for not understanding that you pulled it also. So if you can please call our speakers forward, that would be awesome.
Michael Ponce, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Michael Ponce. for
Thank
the
you.
Ability to talk. I just want to say I'm for the race for the simple fact that it brings people into town that spend money. I would ask that the organizers would have a protocol or standing operating procedure for letting residents cross the race route safely when needed. I know that this race has been going on for 3 years. The other races have been going on for years, but we still have problems crossing the race route safely. I would ask that the organizers teach every single volunteer that is at a block what they need to do to let a resident cross the route. I had a problem with the last race crossing the route. And I just finally left because the little girls were getting flustered and I didn't want to fluster them because they're volunteers. But if the organizers teach the block captains, that's what I'm calling them, what they need to do. When there's a gap in a race, they can let the residents through safely. The previous race did not teach their volunteers what to do when there was someone wanting to cross the race. So I would ask that might,
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, thank you.
I would ask that be a requirement that every volunteer is taught the procedure to let the residents safely through the race. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Cara? Thank you. State your name for the record.
Oh, wait, now it's green. I just want to mention that besides social media online, it's been advertised. There have been advertisements about it in our local paper, I think last month as well. There are flyers up around town. I know, even though I'm not participating, I'm very aware of the race. And I know it's been going on for years and it seems to be a big deal for San Juan Bautista. And then I'd just like to throw out something else, and that has to do with the fees that the city charges. You know, nonprofits should be given a break.
Thank you. Sorry, that's not part of this discussion. That's part of another discussion, but this is actually just on the street closure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, may I have a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing closures of streets for the 2025 Rotary Rainbow Run?
Can I add one more?
Yes.
Yeah, because it can come back to us, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to just emphasize, I'm not against any foot races or anything going through town. I just don't like the way it
Mm.
panned out. And I don't like the fact that it's going to affect so many residents in our community. That's the only reason I'm not in favor of it. So thank you.
Thank you. And I pulled it for similar reasons, the timeliness of this coming before the council when we have a strict guidelines and with the understanding that everybody who has signed up already signed up a while ago. So to cancel a race where everybody has already registered and the time clocks are here and all of that other stuff. Yeah, kind of bummed and a little disappointed at the timeline. Go ahead.
Can we change the map?
Again? Sure. What do you want? No.
Better.
For next year?
This is horrible.
It has been, yeah.
We should have had more time to do this.
Go ahead, city manager.
The event is on June 7th. We can continue to change the map for your direction and approval. We can continue to work with the Rotary to get the map better if that's what you choose.
Did you want to be on a committee to work on Rotary with Rotary to get a better map?
They meet at 7 a.m.
They meet at 7 a.m. Bring the wee one. It would get the map done quicker. Go ahead, Councilmember Morris Lopez.
So I'm just curious, as to what changes, Pro Tem Mayor Sebastia is thinking, or maybe Councilmember, Friels. You know, you can't change what happened here. I think would be, a huge loss if we didn't go ahead and have the event. That's not what's going on. It's the change in the map. So I'm just interested in what changes would you all recommend to make it ideal?
Do I get to answer?
Sure.
I am no expert in street planning or things like that, but as I'm looking at this, how many times it crosses so many streets and not leaving, crossways paths through town are the big things that are of concern to me. Like if we could stick to the perimeters as much as possible so that people crossing in the middle and then your only point of entry and exit are at the perimeters where you have cars going in and out. Here you got a dozen places where you could have cars crossing in or out as opposed to maybe 2 or 3. And then you get to have, maybe some more experienced and or responsible volunteers. You don't have to train them all. You can be targeting a fewer volunteers that are doing your major ins and outs type of thing. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. This is a 5K and a 10K? Sorry.
1K is a loop around 3rd and 2nd, and we've traditionally done it in that location.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why we wanted to have a race that started at 9 instead of 8 was so that the people who come to the race would actually frequent the businesses when the business is open. So that was strategic.
Thank you.
The other reason why the race route goes through downtown is we wanted the people who are visiting our town to know that we're open for business, right? And so that all was very purposeful. The significant change in this course in comparison with what we've done in the past is at the roundabout on First Street. It used to continue out to Prescott and come back. So you would have avoided the loop in Rancho Vista. However, the majority of this race course is pretty similar to what we've done the last few years.
And I believe last year or the year before that, you actually went through Rancho Vista
right.
and
Through
you
the
went
ranch.
through the ranch. So this isn't something that's new. Also, I wanted to mention as well with the county, having to get that encroachment permit, this 5K has to run through the city limits, right? And obviously we're such a small town, so it's hard to keep it um on the outskirts or whatever. I think it's why, but I personally have ran this race every year, and these streets I've run through them, and I haven't seen issues. I know we had a resident right now in Chambers State. Yes, it's hard to get people out, but I've seen it happen. I've seen cars be able to pull out. The racers will move. They drive really slowly. Yes. There is a plan. I've seen it actually happen where I was running down on the county street out on Prescott and cars were still going through and we never had an issue. So I don't see hardly any problems.
The one thing that may be valuable for people to know is last year our race grew to almost 200 people. It's not a huge event. The density on the roads when we're racing is actually pretty minimal. And then the other thing that I think is worth noting is a 5K is 3 miles. To run 3 miles is less than an hour typically. So we're not talking about significant time where we're really blocking the roads. That's what I'll offer. But I am open to your suggestions. So if you want to tell me specifically how to.
We can look at it, but to counter you, I've been turned away from coming into my own house for 3 to 4 years across different races. Like literally turned away from, you cannot go to your house or cannot leave out. So your evidence is anecdotal and not complete to say never.
So question to staff, this, if the route is changed one more time, the council approves this or a similar route to remain within the city limits with I don't even know how to word that.
I needed, are you directing the city
It-
staff to approve an updated map?
I'm
Or are you
asking
asking?
if we were to, if the city were to get yet another map, how does that work with the council? How does the council do?
I think you need to clarify what caveats we need to look for on a new map. So are there specific things, less entrances and exits? What are you looking for specifically
Okay.
in a new map? Like you need to have some guideline to follow.
Okay. That's up to you, EJ. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna ask our current safety coordinator director, Mr. Morales, to give your opinion on the safety issues of this map. This is, I'm assuming now amended from a previous map. So the city spent time, staff spent time on this with this young lady and her organization. So you being the safety coordinator, could you please weigh in on the safety? Because I'm going to take your expert opinion.
Well, it's gonna block a major artery in and out of the city. So that's.
One or two?
It's 2 of them. Fire signed off on it. That was part of the approval process. They had to sign off on it. The sheriff's office signed off on it, but it will block. So the fire trucks are big enough to go through those streets, and I'm sure that your volunteers will move people to a side. So,
So we had two important agencies sign off on it.
correct.
Okay,
Well,
thank
to
you.
More than that.
I mean, but what
Those
were
are the 2
safety?
major law and fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, for safety, that was my point. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do you, Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, have verbiage, language? Okay, I don't either. So unless anybody else has language, I'd like a resolution, a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing street closures for the 2025 Rotary Rainbow Run as presented. And I will be the first to make that motion.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a roll call? Oh, motion made by Mayor Jordan, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda, abstain.
Um. Second, just 1 second.
Yep, go ahead.
Going back to a previous conversation. Yes.
Councilmember Frios,
No,
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
No.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck. Have fun.
Question, can we walk it? Can we? Okay.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Thank you. Action items. Do we need to take a break? No? Can we take 5? Yes, 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. No, seriously, how do we sign up? I've never done this and I'd love to do it.
love this.
I'll do I will do the 1K because I don't know how to run. I mean, I'm nightmares of running.
Manning the street closures?
Yeah.
I am, but I'm always the last one.
welcome back in every aspect. Okay, again, with council approval, I would like to move discussion item 6 in front of action item 5, if that's okay. The discussion item is an update on the fireworks ordinance. And then I thought we could just end the night with the fiscal year budget. Are we good with that?
I'm good with it.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, discussion item, provide an update and discuss firework ordinance with the city of San Juan Bautista.
So I'll start with, there's actually my last slide on my slideshow is the one I should actually start with, which is resolution number 2021-34A, which was passed back in 2021, sorry. Establish a bail schedule for citation issued under municipal code section 516-100 as follows. And this is information that's going to be posted on the signs that are, and I'll let you know where the signs are going to be at in the city, but basically telling people that anybody that violates this section for their first offense can be cited for $1,000, second offense, $2,500. For the third offense and each offense thereafter is $5,000. So with that, that's mostly for the illegal fireworks. So if you go back to my slideshow, what we'll have that weekend, starting on the 30th of June, is going to be Anzar High School, the Booster Club, as they do normally every year. They'll be set up at the Windmill Market and they'll be selling safe and sane fireworks. And that their permit starts from noon on the 30th of June, and it goes until 7 p.m. on July the 4th. And they will be selling their fireworks from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in between those dates. So they're the only safe and sane fireworks sales within our city. So, and then what you may ask, what is legal versus illegal? So this is just a real quick thing. The legal ones are those TNT boxes that you get at the at Anzar High School Booster Club. And then anything that that is extremely loud and goes up in the air and looks like professional fireworks, those are illegal. So that night, again, that week we will have the legal fireworks permitted only July 4th between noon to 9 p.m. on electric boards as you're coming into the city. Those are the announcement boards that you see. Sometimes Caltrans uses for announcements. We will have some of those placed throughout the city. I believe we ordered 3 of those. So you have one at the Alameda, at the roundabout, and then close to Valero. So the entrance and exit points of the city. We'll have 4 camera trailers, one in Copperleaf, one at the library, one in Abbey Park, state parks across from Daisy's. The library we had one these 4 we had last year as well. The most active one was the one at the library. So at the residential area, those are the ones where we actually caught people in the act of lighting fireworks. I think last year we cited 2, and I myself saw a few folks lighting them off, and I was with the deputy that night, and the deputy cited them. So those cameras were pretty effective for us that night. And then we also have flock, and we have a lot of residential cameras. People are calling in saying that they'll share their footage sometimes. So that's been really helpful. So that's the plan. As far as staffing, I'll be on that weekend. The law portion, Deputy Villanueva, who's assigned to us, will adjust his hours for the entire weekend. So he'll be on. I talked to his sergeant yesterday. The sheriff's office is planning to provide extra staffing that entire weekend throughout the county. I think he said there were additional 3 deputies. So depending on calls for service, we may have a deputy or 2 cruising through our city. Again, depends on calls for service that night. And then we'll have private security as well. And they've, as in past years, they also have the authority to issue citations as well to on-site violations. Fire will have their normal 3-0 staffing. They're not bumping up their staffing levels at all. So we'll have the normal 3-0. Again, like I mentioned earlier, private security, 2 officers from July 2nd through July the 8th. They'll be working the hours of 6 p.m. until midnight. And their direction is to report anything to the non-emergency number. If it's non-emergency, and obviously 911 if there's something in progress that they can't handle.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns from the council, Councilmember Aranda?
Yeah, the only one I have is, I think it's great that we have 3 extra deputies and we'll have people patrolling, deputies patrolling. How does the rally still affect us? Is that the same day, like 4th of July? Is the rally in Hollister going on?
It is the same weekend?
So are we sure we're even gonna have anyone that's gonna patrol or come and help us? I mean, the only reason I'm asking is, yeah, you're gonna have all those fireworks and stuff going off, which we always do every year, legal ones, but then you have all the resources going to Hollister for the rally. So how does that put our city in? What position are we put in?
I can tell you that all 3 jurisdictions have been meeting
Mhm.
to try to come up with a safety plan. So in fact, I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. And hopefully the city of Hollister updates us on their safety plan.
Got it. Okay, cool. That works for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels? Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez?
I think I had the same question that Councilmember Aranda had. And then I'm noticing that the security is Kismet, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
How much do we pay for the trailers?
I do not have the price in front of me.
Ballpark.
I think I just signed the order yesterday, $2,800.
Total or each?
I think it was total.
Okay.
And if I can comment on
We
that.
got to get at least 3 tickets. Should be in the green.
And I had to beat another close jurisdiction to get those before those were taken by someone else.
Three minimal.
I'm just saying.
And then your last comment about things that Kismet can't handle. I would prefer that were just because of the issues for your time, but the issues we had with Kismet, what they think they can handle. It should be more along the lines of what they should or should not handle, kind of taking their judgment out of it.
We will have a briefing
Okay.
before every night. So I'll make that clear. I have an operational order for all.
I'm not thrilled at all that we have Kismet. They are, in my opinion, a huge liability to this city. Time and time again, and we have allowed that to occur and continue. And if we haven't already signed a contract with them, I'd look for somebody else and then asking that they no longer represent the city in any way, shape, or form. Other than that, I'm thrilled with everything. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from chambers, public comment? And please state we are on camera again, but please state your name for the record. Is your green light lit?
Carava. San Juan
Thank you.
Bautista. The sign that says legal fireworks only from noon to 9. What happens after 9? Can we have illegal ones then? You know, not just the way it's worded. I find it a little confusing. And also 9 o'clock seems really early. It doesn't get dark until what, about 8:30, something like that. I know we probably have a noise ordinance. It's probably 10 p.m., something like that. Anyway, that's my comment. It just seems really early. And especially if we're going to start enforcing things, Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Zoom?
No other speaker cards received and seeing no hands raised on Zoom, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Back to the council. Councilmember Aranda?
Other than I agree with our constituent public comment. I think it is a little early at 9. So if we can adjust that, maybe if something comes before us. But other than that, no other comments. Thank you for the presentation, Roy.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels? Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes, I agree with Ms. Vonk. 10 PM seems reasonable.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Can feel the holy water burning me, but I'm gonna agree. 9 seems early.
Is that we have to change the ordinance on that?
May I?
Oh,
It
sorry.
wasn't, it was a resolution that was passed.
a
It was
resolu-
before you guys in April. And you guys voted to change that time from 10 o'clock into 9 o'clock.
Wow. Thank you for that
Same.
clarification. We can do anything we want.
Untrue.
Okay, yeah, tonight we can't do anything, yeah. Thank you all for the comments again. It would be my preference never to use Kismet in this city again, ever, 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 ever. And I will. Thank you all for the thank you all for the discussion item. Okay, moving right along. We are on to action item fiscal year budget 2025, 2026. City manager.
My seat just got really, really warm. Felt the temperature change in this building. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, here to present a very early preliminary draft of the city's budget for fiscal year 25, 26. Gave it a fancy title, but so let's get to the next slide, please. So tonight, we're gonna just have a little introduction. We're gonna go over the overview of the budget, financial summary, general fund pressures, some organizational alignment, highlights from the CIP plan. And then I'm gonna offer up some recommended adjustments for you guys to chew on, discuss, ask questions. And I'm hoping for council direction tonight so that we can get a second bite at the apple and have you guys vote to approve or, you know, on June 17th. Next slide, please. Found this lovely quote as I was finishing up the, the presentation today. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality, and budgets are the maps we use to get there. I was like, I really liked that. It's so lovely. Kept me very, very focused on what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Because I knew tonight was going to be quite lively. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we've done is, you know, the staff is, we took a look at the 5-year strategic plan that you guys went through with City Manager Reynolds. So I took that plan, the staff and we also took our retreat goals and we tried to bring things sort of into some sort of strategic alignment and align that with the budget, right? So this budget supports economic development, infrastructure modernization, community vitality, government transparency, and organizational capacity. And those are things that you guys voted on and approved. So as we head into year 3 of your strategic plan, this is what your budget is. Hopefully, that's the goal. We're trying to make sure that we support these areas from the strategic plan. Next slide, please. So just a snapshot of the budget. Our projected revenue is 2.5 million and our projected expenditures 2.7. So that left us in a deficit. And that pressure, that deficit is driven mostly by the fire services allocation. As you guys know, we were in negotiations with the city of Hollister and publicly agreed to spend $418,000 on fire services in this fiscal year. So that money is in the budget. And so because of that, we have this pressure and we have some decisions that we have to make moving forward about the budget. Next slide, please. So that I'm speaking faster than the slideshow. That's okay. We can come back. So obviously the fire services allocation is the largest general fund cost center, and it does reflect a full year of an existing contract with Hollister. But as you know, our contract with Hollister is set to expire December 20th of 2025. But it's, we're looking at, keeping that money, holding it, because we do have to have, as, fire services, our negotiations with the county, those are not realized, right? So we don't know what cost savings may occur from that negotiation. And so I just had that slide there to remind everybody. Next slide, please. So some other points, we've talked a lot about organizational realignment. One of the things that we talked about last month, and I have it on here, is we're trying to transition to a more unified recreation and library department. And I'm hoping we'll call that something like community services department as we shift and move down the road. We also have in the budget some new restructured positions. I put associate planner on here because that was something that was filled in the last fiscal year, but it's relevant to community development. We're looking to hire a senior planner in the next fiscal year, and we're also looking to combine code enforcement and building inspector. And obviously the goal is to reduce contract dependency and improve service delivery. Next slide, please. And so, and this is a little slide on the capital improvement plan summary. So some of the highlights for this fiscal year is to complete our force main to Hollister, get the water transmission line designed, do some upgrades to Rancho Vista's lift station, do pavement and sidewalk improvements, Luck Park Center design, and complete our city hall renovations. Next slide, please. So just to highlight some key projects, we really want to do a 3rd Street design and align it with a 3rd Street master plan. We want to do a stormwater master plan and identify the plan for drainage upgrades. And we want to complete our impact fee study and get that going as soon as possible. Next slide, please. So here we are with the deficit. How do we address it? And I have some ideas on that. One is to pause the community fund, take a pause or cancel the community fund, take a look at it again in the mid-year if you'd like. Reduce the COLA, which is would be cost of living increases for staff. Reduce or cancel our contract with RGS for HR support. Consider bringing our building official in-house, as well as our permit tech. Those two positions are sort of lumped together. And we're estimating that we'll save about $15K if we do that. Pause hiring an admin assistant at this time. That was a position that we'd offered up to help us get a handle on all of our contracts, but we can find a way to do that ourselves and pause that position. And then we made a shift. The M&S grant that is helping us find funding for our water program technically should come from our water enterprise fund. So we're going to make the shift and take that out of the general fund budget. So that total recommended adjustment is about $205,000, which would essentially zero balance the budget at this point. No reserves. Next slide, please. And so the budget is cautious but optimistic. We'll obviously monitor its implementation, track the capital project and provide a mid-year update. And so I wait your questions and direction.
Thank you. Councilmember Aranda.
No questions so far. Thank you for the presentation.
Councilmember Frails.
Thank you. The Rancho Vista lift station, it's a relatively new subdivision, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the lift station was never large enough or adequate enough for the job. Is that the reason we need to upgrade?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer with 100% certainty, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Sorry if I can interrupt, if I can add on to that question. If it wasn't adequate, was it part of the development for Rancho Vista? And if it was, does Meritage help with that?
Perhaps going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're becoming one mind. Yikes.
Great, noted.
Thank you.
And then on your addressing soft cost reductions, what would that, sorry, I don't understand that one.
So I think Wendy knows the language a lot better than me because when I think of soft costs, I think of consumables. So I think of office supplies, travel, food and beverage. And if Wendy wants to chime in there.
That's correct. So part of our analysis and consideration of cost reduction, we looked at doing a 10 to 20% reduction in costs on the departmental level in the general fund. And those are for costs that can be controlled by the department. It doesn't include utilities or insurance, but like travels, office supplies, food and beverage, items that we, yeah, yes, I know, I'm sorry. Exactly.
Catch that.
I was protecting our snacks.
Oh, okay. She got me. And then let's see,
Thank you.
I, on the same addressing the deficit, dealing with RGS, the last round wasn't impressive. So yeah, I'm good with telling them to go to work somewhere else. It's nice of me, isn't it? I'm not sure if I'm too in favor of not, of actually getting rid of the community fund here. We kind of established something and we never even implemented it, and now we're getting rid of it. And we didn't, none of our nonprofits had even a chance to get anything. And some of them, I think, were looking forward to it. So I was kind of hoping we can work something out with that. I'm good with the administration assistant. M&S grant funded contract costs. So they look for, is this an little extra we use them for to look for grants, or how does that,
So they actually, you guys approved a contract for them. They're applying for a hazard mitigation grant with the state right now for construction of our pipeline. And that's what that 31,000 is for. And there's if we do receive that money, the grant funds will be reimbursed for the cost on that.
but we need that money.
We do.
Okay. And boy, I hate to say that. I would hate to see any type of cost of living increases, especially with fuel prices going up in July and most likely next year. That's a tough pill to swallow. So, aside from that, I looked at the big spreadsheet. I'm liking what I see in the big spreadsheet. Can I ask a couple on that? That's something?
Yes, and I apologize. I thought I had asked city engineer to be here to help us because M&S actually did a great job on the capital improvement plan this year. So I will do my best to answer.
Okay.
But we may have to hold and come back with the answer.
I guess more comments. Go down the parks project. I'm now on year 4 of asking for lights. I see it's put as a number 2, and the has been approved for quite some time. I think that'll actually save us some money in the long run. And then down to the community facilities projects. Been barking about getting a generator for City Hall and the fire station. We used to have one years ago, and I don't know what happened to it or why it was removed, but we're lucky we're on a decent grid here, so power going out on us isn't that often, but we are prone to floods as we've seen. So, and that's oh man, do we really want to rely on FEMA for that? I mean, we're still waiting for money from the floods of 2 years ago. But I like what I'm seeing as far as the improvements in streets, and that's always the big gripe of people. And one more. The urban growth sphere of influence, what costs $97,000 on that?
That's why those are question marks. Those are rollovers from the previous
Oh,
plan.
okay.
So I kind of left them because I was not sure what the council's purview was on that.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of confusing. And here's some harsh reality, right? Fire engine's gonna cost them out $1 million. Hate to say that, but that's how much they are now. But everything else looks great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez. Green light.
Sorry. Thank you for all the hard work, Ashley, with your staff, city manager. So I had a question, the big number that I saw stick out, it's not on the slide. I understand the deficit. It's like 190 something K, so you'd have a little tiny cushion. But why is it so expensive to do the fee study? I think it was 113K.
So the impact fee study, we went out to bid for it and we had it at 70K in the budget this fiscal year. The bids came in at 99,000 and we only received one bid. So it is an expensive endeavor for a staff to come in and comb through our fees and make the comparison and make sure that we're abiding by the state's regulations for impact fees, how we're collecting them.
Yeah, that's what I also was going to ask. I did highlight it in the big report about the fees being in alignment with the state regulations. Can you expand on that a little bit more? Like, we already know that we're not charging as much as we should on some of these. And the other issue that I have is that we're not collecting and also we're not assessing late fees. So we already kind of know that without paying 113K to somebody. We already know the general pitfalls that were faced and have been faced. To also, they haven't been looked at for, I think, was it a decade, I'm assuming?
I'm not sure the timeline on when the last fee study was done.
Right.
But typically, fee studies are done, often so that you are staying up with the cost of things and they, just like we do a sewer rate study or water rate study, right? It's in the same vein. So they do have to be done regularly. And in terms of collection and how we collect money and save it, Wendy is an expert at that, and she's very, very good at minding the store and making sure that our funds are used appropriately, even before we do the fee study. But we know right now that our fees are low, and we do need to get a handle and understand what our fees should be, and we need an expert to come in and do that.
So they're in alignment with the state regulations, and that's going to take expertise.
Yeah.
But even on what we have on the books now, are we actively collecting? Are we charging the late fees like some of these nuisance properties and whatnot? I know that we have the code enforcement officer going out. Are we able to collect on those things, on those actions?
Yes, we're doing our best.
Okay, thank you.
Jackie, real quick, I've had the unfortunate opportunity to work on fire impact fees and there's a ton of justification. It was extremely stressful. And I think with something like this, it's going to be great because all the justifications are probably going to be very similar. So they'll be able to knock this out for each department, parks, fire, sewer. So it's coming from somebody. Yeah, and as a volunteer fire chief, I was in the office until, 2:00 in the morning trying to go through all that stuff. It was brutal. So just my own agony.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Hello. Not as bad as any of you. The community fund, I have some questions specifically about what is there. Things that we give out, like there was the woman who came and asked for the 5K for this.
Oh, yeah.
Is
uh-huh.
that what's included? Those kind of things are included in there?
So that's a,
Sorry, go ahead.
it's a great question. So this stems back from so I'll take it a step back so I can make sure I recall this correctly. A month ago, maybe 2 months ago, Caitlin gave a presentation. You guys talked about in general what you wanted the guidelines to be. And there was 50K on the table, right? And so in our budget discussions, my original recommendation was going to be 30K as we go into the new fiscal year. So, so that fund was for nonprofits to request support from the city, and there had to be a nexus for a need of the city. So there's that opportunity there for community groups to come in and say, hey, I'm working on this project and it meets this part of your strategic plan. How can we work together to make that happen? And so Caitlin was going to come back with an application and so on and so forth. So that was the general plan, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my recollection on it.
Okay. And where do things like the money that we give organizations like the Spirit of San Juan, what bucket do those go into?
So in my research, I have found that that money, like Spirit of San Juan money, was budgeted into advertising. That's where it kind of fell in the grander scheme of things. My hope was that the council we would funnel all community groups through this fund and have a very systematic process. Because again, there has to be a community need. And so I want to create a system where everybody is treated equitably and fairly. And we're not cherry picking one organization over another organization and making a decision. Everybody funnels through. Everybody goes through the same process. You requested the council makes a decision. You fill out an application, et cetera. You tell us what your need is, you tell us why there's a nexus, and we move forward in that manner.
Yeah. So in looking at this and trying to help give you direction, act on your request, it'd be easier for me to wrap my brain around that. If like you've got buckets here, right? You got buckets here on addressing the deficit. You've got buckets around where we go, or where things were over. I guess what I'm saying is absolutely yes to what you're saying. Putting everything into these discrete buckets so that we know what we're spending where, and no extraneous spends, no special cases, so that when we're like if I were thinking about where that money would come from, when I was reading through all this, my assumption was that it was coming from the community fund, but it sounds like it is not. Yeah, getting all that stuff organized and ducks in a row would be glorious.
If I can add without going too far down the rabbit hole on this topic, sorry, the wheels are turning. We are actively working to bring order and system to what we are doing inside the government. And I cannot tell you how often I ask, what's the process for that? And nobody knows. And it is incredibly jarring. And so that's what you hired me to do, is to understand what it is that we're doing and to bring order and system and professionalism to the city. And so that is what we're doing. And I thoroughly understand and recognize that it is going to cause a lot of upset.
Yep.
And it is not my intention to cause upset. And I know that change is hard, but I think the best way to move forward is to rip the Band-Aid off and just go all in, make the change, and then we all adjust.
Yep. So I didn't mean for any, I don't think you took it this way, but I did not mean for any of what I said to sound like a criticism. All I was saying was it sounded like you were asking for direction to go do a thing. From the one here, that was a yes, please.
Do a thing.
Do that. Do the thing. I agree. Who does the responsibility of HR support go to without RGS?
Our lovely city clerk. HR director, administrative services director.
Does that give her like more power over like me per se and her tone?
Maybe.
There are not enough doors over here for that to be a thing. Understood about the soft cost saving. That makes sense. I volunteered not to be printed paper for so we can save money. And then the pause on the the admin assistant. Is this didn't we just agree to this? It's different. Too many different words.
It's
Assistant to
different.
okay.
It's different. We have a admin assistant in the budget we have not hired for. It's a part-time position.
Mm,
And so we were going to hire for it just so that we could have support for Liz and for Roy to help us and everybody, an extra set of hands. But at this time, we're like, you know what? We'll make do.
okay. Makes sense. I think that answers most of my questions. I think I'm good.
You am good? Thank you. I also asked about the lights earlier today for the ballpark. The repair vandalism at the school bathrooms, is that a shared expense? Is that the event that just happened?
Yes, there was an event that just happened at the soccer field bathrooms. Someone lit toilet paper on fire in the bathroom and destroyed a huge piece of the floor, well, the vinyl. So the school has just replaced that floor not that long ago. Our staff is responsible for managing the day-to-day opening and closing of that bathroom. So I would like to replace that portion of the floor that needs to be replaced, mostly as a sign of good partnership and not necessarily because we're contractually obligated to do it.
Understood.
It is just a part of being in partnership with the school at this point.
Awesome, thank you.
But
for that.
we are looking into, I have asked that the schedule be changed and that the bathrooms are locked, opened and closed every day. But per Councilmember Fields' suggestion, we're looking at automated locks on the bathrooms.
I thought we had them at one point. Are they?
Not to my knowledge, so we'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
I think the Baruti Park ones are wired for it because they've got there's like the panic button there, but I don't think they were ever
Engaged.
installed. What's a good example is the little bathrooms in Aromas at the soccer fields there.
Mm-hmm.
They have a timer. And then after 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever, if you get caught in there, you hit the button and it lets you out.
Yeah, I thought the Abbey Park was the same way. And then at some point they were broken. I could be mistaken. I don't know.
Yeah, that bathroom needs a bulldozer.
That was a target a couple years ago during the 4th of July. Measure G we talked about earlier.
Yeah, well, I'll follow up
Okay.
with city engineer on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I saw. And then the follow-up with Meritage and the lift station. And congratulations, Liz, to becoming the new HR person. Full time, all the time. You're the best. We appreciate you. We could give up our salaries. Okay, just checking. Sorry. I have nothing else. Thank you for the extreme late hours. And looking forward to more questions next week. Oh, wait, you're not gonna be here the following week. Thank you. Do we have questions, comments, and concerns from chambers?
Sorry, Mike Ponce.
Hi, Michael, welcome.
Was wondering if you could elaborate more on addressing the deficit, the 31K to shift the M&S grant to the water fund. Is that coming out of the water fund right now and you want to borrow from the general fund, or is it vice versa? Because I know we have, sewer and water have borrowed from the general fund and we are still paying on that for probably another 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments for Chambers?
No other speaker cards received and seeing no hands raised on Zoom, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Nothing on Zoom. Thank you. Back to the council. Councilmember Aranda.
Nope, questions or comments. I mean, other than great work, Ashley. I think you're going the right direction.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
Just thanks to Wendy and Ashley for jumping into this. It's probably tough for Wendy every time we change a city manager to, to walk them through a new program. But do you think, can you answer Michael's question? I would like you to, please.
I can answer it if you would like me to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so when we prepared this draft budget, we had anticipated a 31,070, or about $31,000 for grant writing services from M&S, and it was posted to the draft general fund budget. It was not appropriately placed. It needed to be moved over to the water fund as part of the water project, which we anticipate will be reimbursed through the grant funds that we received and other funding sources. So that in effect, it needed to be moved. But it was part of the deficit that was presented to you in your pack. So we outlined it so you could see that there will be that adjustment and it will be recovered. It has nothing to do with the interfund debt that Mr. Ponce had mentioned.
Thank you. And as much as I hate seeing cuts, we just got back from Sacramento and met with Senator Laird and Speaker Rivas's folks, and I think they were pretty impressed by the fact that we balanced our budget, and also that we've been shovel ready for 3 or 4 years now, and I would hate to see any type of deficit hurt our loan capabilities in the future. Because was it the EPA that spoke about, it was the EPA spoke about a real low interest loan, like a 1.6% interest loan. Yeah, I would hate to, as much as I hate, to cut these, make costs. I mean, we got to look at the long run. So thank you for doing the tough job. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you for the work. I think you've addressed all of our questions that we had tonight at this juncture. So thank you.
Thanks. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Last question. Do you feel you've been given appropriate direction? Are there any other, you're doing great work. I want to make sure you feel like you have the agency to continue to.
Yes.
Okay.
It's be short and brief. Yes, I do.
Awesome.
I understand exactly where you're going, and are you comfortable with what I hear is that you're comfortable with where we are currently with the cuts that we've suggested at this point? Okay. I got all the heads nodding, so okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you
All
don't
the
walk
heads are
away from
nodded.
it. Yes. I want to make sure you don't walk away from this without having the questions that you came in with answered. Okay.
No.
And I appreciate all the work that you have done on this. And part of that was bringing in new bodies or rearranging bodies and saving us a lot of money, even with having new staff come on, which is kind of counterintuitive, but is absolutely amazing. So the things that you are cutting and have cut and rearranged is helping us out tremendously, as seen in this whole presentation. So with that, you are charged with that slide.
It'll be reflected in your next budget and report.
Thank you very much. And that takes us to adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Say, please, somebody. Motion made by Councilmember Aranda, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes. Thank you all.